everybody, it's Honest John again. Got a little story to tell. It happened sometime in the 1980s. I was on Hollywood Boulevard and I stopped into a video store and was browsing the shelves when two guys came in. Dark suits, mirrored sunglasses, and I said to myself, those guys look like FBI agents. But they went into the porn section, so I figured I must be wrong. I figured maybe they were just well-dressed perverts. But it turned out that they were FBI agents, and they came out of the porn section holding a video box, told me that I had to leave the shop, put the owner in handcuffs, and locked up the store. And the tape that they had found was a porno video starring Traci Lords. Now, Traci Lords was a beautiful young woman who started in the porn industry when she was in her teens. And she was for a while a big star in the porn industry. But most of the videos that she made were when she was underage, and so all but one of those movies is illegal. It's considered child pornography. And that's why the store owner got busted. Now, as for Traci Lords, in addition to being beautiful, she was smart and talented and successfully made the transition from the porn industry to mainstream Hollywood movies. But the reason I'm telling this story is because the California legislature has revised their law regarding therapists and people with pedophile tendencies. And the law used to require therapists to report to the police anybody who was a danger to others, but also anybody who was involved in the distribution, making, selling of child porn. And the therapists were fine with that. But the law has been revised so that the therapists are required to inform police if any of their patients admits to watching child pornography. In fact, the law requires therapists to notify the police if they found out one of their patients had ever watched child porn. So, this is an example of a law that is maybe well-intentioned, but is just really bad law. And so the therapists are suing the state to try to get the law changed. So, for example, they don't want to have to report a patient who is sincerely trying to gain control of their urges and has a relapse and maybe watches some child porn online. But the law is so broad that it would require, for example, a therapist to report someone that had, as a teenager, exchanged sex with their teenage girlfriend, and or had taken nude photos or something like that, and even if they had no actual pedophile urges and were now an adult, they would have to be reported to the police. So that's an example of a law that is just very badly written. But when people hear the words child porn or pedophile, they have a strong reaction, and I have to admit that I'm no exception. As some of you may know, for years I worked, before I became a comedian, in the mental health field. And I I did come in contact with a couple of people who had pedophile tendencies. I was never their primary therapist, but I have to admit I felt no sympathy for them. I was creeped out. So protecting people with those tendencies is not going to be a popular cause. These are not people who can be portrayed as victims. And even if they are not directly harming children, just watching child porn is an act of abuse, and it's illegal. But therapists don't have to report everything that's illegal that their clients do. This is a very, for example, if a therapist is treating someone for shoplifting, they don't have to go to the police if their client comes in and reports that they've shoplifted. So it's difficult how you find a balance between protecting children and helping those with urges that most of us find distasteful. This law is obviously overly broad and needs to be more narrowly focused, and there needs to be that balance so that people with those urges who sincerely want help can get the help, while at the same time protecting children from those who would harm them. Interestingly enough, we have a president who is known to have hung out with a known child predator, Jeffrey Epstein. It is highly likely that during that time he probably watched what would be considered child porn with Epstein. We know that at one of Epstein's parties, Trump is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, which makes him a pedophile. And a lot of Trump supporters would be the first to defend this law and condemn all child predators. But if it came out that it was Trump, all of a sudden they'd be on his side. Thanks for listening. Well, I want to thank you all for watching my videos. But there are certain changes that Google has made to YouTube, which, since I'm a smaller channel, means that I can't monetize my videos. So I found places where I can. So instead of watching my videos here on YouTube, I'd appreciate it if you go either to Patreon or to Top Buzz. They let me monetize videos, and I don't even have to put commercials on. So if you want to become a patron on Patreon, that's fine. If you don't, you can still watch the videos there. I've just kind of given up on YouTube. YouTube is just a place that I use so that I can put my videos in other places. So, Patreon, Top Buzz, the links are in the description box. Thanks a lot.